Hello and welcome to Friend Update episode number 4. My name's Dan Wood.
And I'm Adam Spring.
And in today's video, we're going to be talking about a feature in the Friend Unifying platform that we use in every single video you watch. We're going to be discussing Friend Chat.
Yes, and we're going to be looking at things like how is Friend Chat different to other platforms like Skype, Google+, and a plethora of other chat engines out there, shall we say. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Hey friends, and welcome to our 4th episode of Friend Update. I can't believe, Adam, we've been doing this show like a month now.
I know, it's gone quickly. That must be a good sign, right?
First one of September as well. We'll be writing our Christmas list for Santa very soon.
Absolutely.
Well, we've got something really interesting to talk about on this week's show because we're joined by Espen Olsen. Hello, Espen.
Hello.
Now, Espen is the genius behind this technology that we use for all of our videos, Friend Chat, which, it's something we use for conferencing. We obviously use it for recording our videos as well. And I think it is one of the areas of Friend that people are really interested in. So we thought it would be cool to get Espen on to talk a little bit about his history and the future of Friend Chat and what you can do with it right now. So first of all, Espen, welcome to the show. And it would be nice to find out a bit about your background. So what was your... how did you get into programming and what was your kind of computer background?
I started with Amiga 500.
Mm-hmm. Good choice.
Got it from my birthday. Didn't actually do any programming on Amiga, so I did that on the PC when I got that. I also did some more 3D modeling and that kind of stuff. So I was a little bit all over the place.
How does Friend Chat differ to things like Skype, Google+, all the other chat engines out there? Because it's a unique tool and it's kind of cool. It's really cool, in fact.
Yeah, they use much the same technology, which is WebRTC. But I think what sets it apart is the integration with FriendUP and its system. So you have much more direct file access and all that kind of stuff. Just as simply, they can drag and drop files directly from their FriendUP folders into Friend Chat to share files. So that's very easy, but also more advanced, they could use what we call dormant, which is basically API access to the application. And then you can interface multiple applications and you can write scripts to control the other application. So for example, in the near future, we want to be able to control Friend Chat to create overlays on live sessions, for example, to use it more as a sort of broadcasting.
So one of the things I think is really fantastic about Friend Chat is its ability to be used as a collaboration tool. And obviously the user interface is kind of unique. Even the way in which you can just send a link to somebody to just immediately get the Friend Chat browser up is just a fantastic thing. So I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about how you can use it as a collaboration tool to, share files or work as a programming team and stuff like that.
We use it internally all the time to communicate. As I mentioned, I live in Oslo, and the rest of the team is in Stavanger. So we have to have some way of communicating directly. We can also use, for example, screen sharing to show each other what we work on directly. Or we can just share files and images and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think another thing that's really nice about this is the fact that it's lightweight and you haven't got a data lag. It's not like it's really consuming your bandwidth or anything else. It's just, look how nippy that was. It's just, it's really, really cool.
And the fact that Friend Chat's open source then, what kind of people do you see using it then?
I hope everyone uses it, obviously.
Good answer.
But yeah, as I said, or as mentioned, developers certainly would benefit from using it, tech support, but I also think it would be useful for podcasts and that type of media.
Mm-hmm.
It should be fairly easy to set up. So, and
but it works for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's problems, we'll make it better there.
Fantastic. We even got a cat in the background there. That's awesome. Anyway, so what features are coming up then in FriendChat that we can look forward to?
In the very near future, we'll switch between streams based on who is talking. That is mostly ready. So, yeah. Also, we're working on not directly just in live, but the presence part to make that easier to use. Integration with work groups, FriendUP work groups. So you can just assign work groups to a channel and everyone in that work group automatically joins. Also, in the near future, we're doing some cloud studio things where we're aiming to make it much easier to share videos on the internet, basically, to capture and save through FriendChat and upload and share it.
Yeah, which is, I think, is really important though, because this age that we live in, I mean, everybody can do their own show. You know, I remember when we were kids, you do a little radio show in your bedroom on your tape recorder and like you play to your mum. Whereas now, you know, anyone can do their own show in the room. But I think the stumbling point is still getting something on YouTube and, you know, importing it into a video editor, exporting it to the right format, saving the file, uploading it, titling it, doing it. It is still a bit of a hassle, isn't it? And I think it kind of goes with our philosophy here at Friend that we want to make access easy to everyone. So yeah, the cloud studio stuff should help a lot with that. It really helps anyone become a broadcaster and do their own show like this, really, won't it?
It should help with hardware requirements and that kind of stuff as well, by compressing video on the server instead of doing it on your local hardware.
So if a developer or a coder wanted to get hold of you, what would be, or where would be the best place to do that?
Probably on IRC. We're on the FriendUP channel on Freenode, and my nick there is Socket. So yeah.
So there you go. You've heard from the man himself, Espen, who is hard at work at the moment, upgrading and improving FriendChat every day. I mean, it was actually one of the first features I used of Friend. You're probably the same, Adam, when we first got introduced onto this platform. Yeah,
I mean, to me, it's really interesting because it's such it's probably one of the most developed parts of Friend, and it's synonymous with the platform, and it's so it's unique in a way because, like I said, just having the ability to send a link to somebody as opposed to having to go through the hassle of sending, you know, making sure somebody's got Skype or making sure somebody's got Google Plus. And I think, you know, you and I have even had that discussion before. We don't actually use Google Plus because, or you know, Google Chat, sorry, because it's not really, it's a bit fiddly. So it's nice to just be able to directly go to people. And even when you're interviewing people, there's more of an ease of if they just click on a link and up it comes. They're already relaxed. So there's little subtle things there that I think is really cool about it.
Yeah, because I mean, you do a podcast like I do, and you know we do the show every week now, and it's there is nothing more frustrating for a guest than technical issues, and you know they've got to download this plugin, this bit of software as well. With Friend, we just whack them a link on Facebook or email, and then they click it straight in, which is obviously a lot easier all round. I'm thinking in terms of other use cases as well. I mean, I guess every company has got a need for conferencing software, really, especially now that companies are becoming, you know, not based in one physical location.
Yeah, absolutely. And the amount of dev teams I know that, you know, their main office can be in San Francisco, but the real estate there is far too expensive. So, you know, they've got a main base in Singapore or on the East Coast of the US and everything else. It's just, we're in such a different world now that to have a collaboration tool like that, particularly, you know, because Link is the professional Skype version, or I think it's called Skype Business now, but it used to be called Link. And that, no offense to the guys there, but it's not efficient. You know, it's very much old school, and there's a separation between people and just a text box. You know, I think one of the problems when you're working remotely is, you know, tone and stuff with text is completely different to being able to physically speak to somebody. You know, and I think something like FriendChat, it breaks down that barrier. I mean, even, you know, it's subtle things, but even when you've got the message board coming down, it's transparent, so you can still see the person behind it. You know, so there is, to me, there is an added level of interaction there, but it might just be the way my brain works. I don't know, but I really like it. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's also the fact that, you know, there is stuff in here as well where we can share applications, and at the moment he's working on, you know, maybe some multiplayer games that we can play at the same time. So when you've had your meeting with, like, you know, that big CEO in Japan and he wants to have a Pac-Man after the meeting. It's always good to wind things down and relax a bit, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think the interesting thing about the gaming analogy as well is it proliferates out into so many other industries. Like, you know, the architectural engineering and construction industries that I've spoken to you about before. I was demoing Friend Chat yesterday as of the date of this video. You know, to a guy that works for a startup out of Portland, and they deal exclusively with doing 3D modeling of buildings for asset management. And as soon as I showed him the game demo, because, you know, gaming and high-end fidelity gaming, it uses the same CPU and GPU capacity as you would for 3D CAD programs, he was immediately like, okay, well, what's the resource management on this? And then he started talking to me about Friend Chat and the collaboration abilities of that as well. So I think the great thing about it is it's feeding into a wider thing of going paperless or digital, whatever you want to call it. So it's cool.
Yeah, it's very simple to use as well. I mean, I've not spoken about this on the show, but I did have a friend who was on a rather big reality TV show recently. I won't embarrass myself by saying who he was, but I did actually do a few meetings with his agent because I was handling a bit of social media for them. And
so you know Donald Trump. Okay, I'm sorry.
He's not quite that bad. But yeah, I mean, we were chatting every day using Friend Chat, and they were like, this thing's really cool, you know, how can we get access to it? And people might be watching this and thinking the same. I mean, this is actually live on our demo server at the moment, so if you head to our website, friendup.cloud, sign up there, we'll send you an activation link out in an hour or two, and then you can get access to it as well. And at the moment, you know, it's dead simple to use, whether it's doing conferences with other people in your company or just calling your mum on a weekend. I mean, that's always good to keep more regularly up to date with your mother.
Yeah, and I mean, even, you know, slightly more, how shall I put it? Not tricky, but more traditional things, features like IRC. You know, from a coding point of view, that's how a lot of people have communicated for years. So even to have that built in as well is kind of unique. You know, it's really cool. I've never really been into the IRC movement until I started using Friend Chat, and now I'm using it all the time. It's really, really useful. Surprising, in fact, very surprising.
And I will just say, Espen's not the only one with an animal in the room. He had someone rather cute on your couch there. He's not very well at the moment, is he?
So basically, if I've got a guinea pig for Friend Chat.
Oh, look at that.
So there he is. Name's Harvey, Little Hurricane Harvey.
Hey, Harvey, there you go. Harvey's first appearance on Friend Update.
Mascot right there. Who needs a penguin? You've got a guinea pig.
I mean, if you do want to do your own videos as well, I mean, Espen did kind of touch on this, is that we are working on something at the moment called Friend Cloud Studio. And essentially, this is going to be like an all-in-one, you could say like a YouTuber's package that's dead simple to use.
Yep. Absolutely, and it's cutting out the middleman, because as you and I have spoken about a lot, you know, whether it's having sound hooked up through things like, in my case, a Zoom H6, and using things like Audacity or Audition, or using things like Camtasia or iSpring to record the screens, this cuts a lot of that out. You know, like the ability to just record straight with, again, you know, another feature is the fact that it's very bandwidth efficient. You know, to have that high quality video, but immediately be able to record it. And, you know, I'm sure you and I will always have sound backups, because that's what people like you and I do. But like, you could just basically literally record everything straight away and bang, ready to go, which is, you know, really cool.
Well, I'm looking at, you know, the setup I use currently. You know, before this is implemented, I'm having to use a Elgato HD capture card coming, you know, via HDMI routing, and then I've got a separate machine recording audio. Then got to sync it all up later on. When this is activated and we get, you know, Friend Cloud Studio working, I can do the whole show from a laptop in a coffee shop. Yeah,
no, absolutely. And I mean, again, like you said at the beginning, it's, you know, we're already using this for podcasting and everything else anyway. So I mean, I've already converted over to this because it's just easier for me to send somebody the link, and then everything about it is controlled, which is what you want from a recording session. So it's awesome. It's cool.
And the fact anyone can do it without needing expensive hardware. I mean, capture cards are not cheap. That was about, you know, £100 to buy the Elgato card.
Yeah.
And then good microphone's about the same, isn't it?
And they're getting more expensive as well, with semiconductors being used for many different things. So yeah, absolutely.
So there you go, guys. I mean, there will be more videos in the future about Friend Chat, and we'll keep you up to date with the Cloud Studio as that gets further developed. Of course, if you have any questions, just leave a comment on this video. You can find us on the forums, in the IRC channel as well. I'll provide all of those links. And thank you for watching. We'll catch you next week for episode number 5. Have a good week.
Say goodbye, Harvey. Goodbye.
Bye, Harvey.